The Arctic chamber lay hidden beneath layers of ice and snow. It was a secret place, forgotten by time. Inside, cold air filled the room, and machines quietly hummed, their lights blinking softly. The walls were made of strong metal, and the floor was covered with frost. Ancient technology lined the space, creating a strange mix of beauty and mystery. In a corner of the chamber, large glass tubes stood tall. Each tube held a super soldier, frozen in time, waiting to be awakened. Their bodies were strong and muscular, made to fight. They wore old but advanced armor that glinted even in the dim light. The soldiers had been chosen for their bravery and skill. They were the best of humanity, trained to protect the Earth at all costs. Above, in a control room filled with alien leaders, a dark mood hung in the air. The aliens had just destroyed humanity, believing they were now the rulers of Earth. They were tall and thin, with green skin and big, shiny eyes. They celebrated their victory, but their joy was mixed with fear. They knew the super soldiers were powerful, and if they woke up, they could be a serious threat. One alien, a leader named Xynor, pointed to a screen showing the frozen soldiers. "It's time," he declared. "We must awaken them. They will help us secure our power." The other aliens nodded, their eyes gleaming with excitement and fear. They pushed buttons on a large control panel, and the chamber came to life. Bright lights flashed as the machines began their work. The air filled with a soft, electric hum, and the glass tubes glowed. Slowly, the soldiers inside started to stir. Their eyes flickered open, revealing a fierce determination. Confusion washed over their faces as they realized they had been asleep for so long. As the soldiers awoke, memories flooded back. They remembered the world outside, cities filled with people, laughter, and hope. But now they felt a deep anger. Humanity had been wiped out, and they were the last hope for revenge. They looked around the chamber, taking in their surroundings. The cold air felt strange on their skin, but their training kicked in. They were soldiers, ready for battle. The leader of the super soldiers, a man named Commander Rax, stepped forward. He was tall and strong, with a scar running down his cheek. His voice was calm but filled with fire. "We have been brought back for a reason," he said. "We must fight for those who can no longer fight for themselves. The aliens think they have won, but they are wrong." The other soldiers nodded, their eyes bright with determination. They were ready to follow Rax into battle. They could feel the power of their training coursing through them, igniting a fierce desire for vengeance. The aliens had destroyed their homes and families, and now they would pay. As Rax spoke, the aliens watched from above, surprised by the soldiers' strength and spirit. Xynor clenched his fists, realizing he had made a dangerous choice. The soldiers were not just weapons, they were the last remnants of humanity's hope. "We will take back our planet," Rax declared, raising his fist. "Together, we will show these aliens the true meaning of strength." His words echoed in the chamber, filling the soldiers with courage. The aliens felt a chill run down their spines. They had awakened a force they could not control. The super soldiers were ready to reclaim what was lost, and the aliens had no idea what was coming. The room buzzed with tension as both sides prepared for what would become a battle for survival. With their hearts pounding and their minds focused, the super soldiers began to plan their next steps. They were not just going to fight, they were going to outsmart the aliens. They would gather intelligence, learn the layout of the base, and find weaknesses. They would turn the aliens' own technology against them. In that moment, inside the Arctic chamber, hope was born anew. The super soldiers stood together, united in purpose. They were ready to rise from the ashes of humanity and become the warriors they were meant to be. The battle for Earth was just beginning, and they were determined to win. The Arctic chamber buzzed with energy as the machines worked to wake the super soldiers. Bright lights flashed, and the sound of humming filled the air. The aliens watched nervously from their control room, eager to see if their plan would succeed. Inside the chamber, the glass tubes held the soldiers, each one a hero from a time long gone. They had fought bravely for humanity, each chosen for their strength and skill. Now they were about to be awakened to a new world, one filled with danger and darkness. As the lights flashed brighter, the glass tubes began to clear. The soldiers inside stirred, their bodies responding to the awakening process. One by one, their eyes flickered open. Confusion filled their minds as they tried to remember what had happened. Where were they? What had become of the world they once knew? In the first tube, a soldier named Jace blinked and looked around. He was tall with broad shoulders and a fierce look in his eyes. His heart raced as memories flooded back. The sound of gunfire, the cheers of his comrades, and the warmth of the sun on his face. But now all he felt was cold. Next to him, a soldier named Lena awoke. She was known for her quick reflexes and sharp mind. As she opened her eyes, fear washed over her. She remembered the last battle and how everything had gone dark. Now she was trapped in a strange place. The two soldiers quickly realized they were not alone. Around them, other tubes were awakening and more soldiers were coming to life. They were all heroes, brought back from the dead, but they felt lost in this new reality. Commander Rax was the last to wake up. He was a symbol of strength, with years of experience in battle. As he opened his eyes, he scanned the room. The sight of his comrades filled him with hope. They were alive! Together, they could fight back. "What is this place?" Jace asked, looking at Rax. "This is the Arctic Chamber," Rax replied, his voice steady. "We have been brought back to fight, but we need to remember who we are and why we are here." Lena nodded, her mind racing. "We need to find a way out. We must learn about our enemies and their plans." As they spoke, the aliens watched from above, fascinated and afraid. They had succeeded in waking the soldiers, but they had no idea what these warriors were capable of. The soldiers began to stretch and move, testing their strength. Jace felt powerful, ready to fight. Lena's heart raced with excitement as she practiced her quick moves. Rax watched them closely, feeling pride swell in his chest. "Listen up!" Rax called, commanding their attention. "We are the last hope for humanity. The aliens think they have won, but they are wrong. We must use our skills and our training to outsmart them." The soldiers nodded, determination shining in their eyes. They remembered their training and how to work together as a team. They were not just fighters, they were a family. As they prepared to move, Jace looked around the chamber. "What do we do first?" he asked. Rax considered this. "We need to gather information. We must learn about the layout of this base and the aliens' weaknesses. Then we can plan our attack." The soldiers nodded, understanding the plan. They had been trained for this moment, and now it was time to put their skills to the test. The first step was to explore the chamber. They moved quietly, checking the machines and the walls. Lena found a small control panel and began pressing buttons, hoping to access the alien systems. Suddenly, the panel lit up, revealing maps and information about the base. The soldiers gathered around, their eyes wide with excitement. They could see the layout, the locations of the aliens, and even some security weaknesses. "This is perfect!" Lena exclaimed. "Now we know how to move through the base without being seen." With newfound confidence, the super soldiers made a plan. They would gather more information and prepare for their first attack against the aliens. The fight for Earth was just beginning, and they were ready to reclaim what was lost. As they stood together in the Arctic chamber, hope filled their hearts. They were warriors, and together they would rise to face their enemies. The Arctic chamber was alive with energy as the super soldiers gathered around the glowing control panel. They had just discovered valuable information about the alien base, and now they needed to come up with a plan. Commander Rax stood at the front, his expression serious but hopeful. "Listen up, everyone!" Rax called, raising his voice to get their attention. The soldiers turned to him, their faces filled with determination. "We have a chance to fight back. The aliens think they control us, but they are wrong. We know their base, and we can use this knowledge to our advantage." Jace, one of the strongest soldiers, stepped forward. "What is our first move, Commander?" he asked, his fists clenched. "We need to show them that we are not afraid." Rax nodded, pleased with the soldiers' eagerness. "First, we need to gather more information. We have maps of the base, but we need to learn about their patrols and security measures. Knowing their movements will help us plan our attack." Lena, known for her quick thinking, chimed in. "I can sneak out and observe their patrols. I'm fast and can avoid detection." "That's a great idea, Lena," Rax replied. "But we need to be careful. The aliens are dangerous, and we don't want to put anyone at risk. We will work in teams." The soldiers nodded in agreement. Rax continued. "Lena and Jace will go together. They will scout the east side of the base. The rest of us will stay here and monitor the control panel for any changes." As Lena and Jace prepared to leave, the other soldiers gathered around them. "Be safe," one soldier said, placing a hand on Jace's shoulder. "We are counting on you." With a nod, Lena and Jace slipped out of the Arctic chamber and into the dark corridors of the alien base. They moved quietly, their hearts pounding with excitement and fear. The walls were cold and shadows danced around them, but they were determined to succeed. As they crept through the base, they found hidden corners and dark spaces where they could observe the aliens without being seen. They watched as the alien soldiers patrolled, their movements robotic and precise. "This is perfect," Jace whispered. "If we can predict their movements, we can find a way to strike when they are least prepared." Meanwhile, back in the chamber, the remaining soldiers watched the control panel closely. Lena had activated a camera feed, allowing them to see what was happening outside. Rax stood beside the panel, his eyes fixed on the screen. "Look at their formations," he said, pointing. "If we can create distractions in different areas, we can confuse them." The soldiers nodded, and Rax began to outline their plan. "Lena and Jace will return with information about the aliens' weak points. In the meantime, we will prepare some surprises. We can set traps and create distractions to draw the aliens away from their posts." As Lena and Jace observed, they noticed something interesting. The aliens seemed to have a pattern to their patrols. They changed shifts every 30 minutes, giving them a small window to attack. "Let's get back and tell Rax," Lena said, her heart racing. "We have valuable information." They hurried back to the chamber, excitement building in their chests. When they arrived, the other soldiers gathered around, eager to hear their news. Rax looked at them expectantly. "What did you find?" Jace stepped forward, his eyes shining. "We noticed that the aliens change shifts every 30 minutes. If we time our attack right, we can strike when they are at their weakest." Lena added, "We can use the traps to create confusion. If we set them up near the patrol routes, the aliens will be distracted, giving us an opening." Rax smiled, feeling a surge of pride for his team. "Excellent work! We will use this information to our advantage. We'll set traps in key locations and prepare for the attack." The soldiers quickly got to work, gathering supplies and setting up their traps. They worked as a team, each person contributing their skills. As the plan came together, Rax felt a sense of hope wash over him. They were no longer just survivors, they were fighters, ready to take back their home. As they finished their preparations, Rax looked at his team. "Remember, we are doing this for humanity. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Together, we will show the aliens the strength of our spirit." The soldiers cheered, their voices echoing in the chamber. They were ready for the fight ahead. The aliens in the base were feeling confident. They believed they had defeated humanity for good. But little did they know that their victory was about to be shattered. The super soldiers were ready, and their plan was set in motion. In the command center, an alien named Zorak monitored the screens. His green skin glowed under the harsh lights, and his sharp eyes scanned the data. "Everything is quiet," he reported to his fellow aliens. "We have secured the perimeter. There is no way the humans can escape." But in the shadows, the super soldiers were preparing to strike. Rax and his team had set traps all around the base, ready to confuse and disrupt the alien patrols. They waited with bated breath, knowing that chaos was their greatest ally. As the time for the alien shift change approached, Rax signaled to his team. "Get ready," he whispered, excitement tingling in the air. The soldiers hid behind crates, hearts racing with anticipation. When the clock struck 30 minutes, the aliens began to move. They left their posts, unaware that their routine was about to be interrupted. Suddenly, Lena pressed a hidden button on the control panel. Alarms blared throughout the base, startling the aliens. "What is happening?" Zorak shouted, panic rising in his voice. "Check the perimeter." As the aliens scrambled to regain control, the super soldiers activated their traps. Explosions rocked the base, sending dust and debris flying. The sound echoed in the corridors, and chaos erupted among the aliens. "What is going on?" Zorak yelled, his voice full of fear. The aliens ran in different directions, trying to understand what was happening. They were used to order, but now everything was in disarray. Jace and Lena took advantage of the confusion. They dashed through the corridors, avoiding the panicked aliens. They worked together, using their training to dodge blasts and keep low to the ground. "Over here!" Jace shouted, pointing to a group of aliens who were huddled together trying to make sense of the chaos. "Let's create another distraction." Lena nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "I'll set up a trap near them. It will make them think they are being attacked from all sides." While Lena prepared the trap, Jace snuck closer to the group of aliens. He was careful not to make a sound. The aliens were arguing, their voices rising above the chaos. "We must regroup." one alien shouted. "We cannot let the humans win." As they argued, Lena activated the trap. A loud bang echoed through the corridor, followed by a blinding flash of light. The aliens were startled and scattered in all directions, adding to the confusion. Back in the command center, Zorak was losing control. "Get the soldiers back in formation," he ordered. But the aliens were too disoriented to listen. The alarms continued to blare, and the base was filled with smoke and dust. Rax watched the chaos unfold on the control panel. "Now is our chance," he shouted. "Let's push forward!" The super soldiers surged into the command center, moving quickly and quietly. They were ready to take down the aliens and reclaim the base. As they entered, they found Zorak frantically trying to issue commands, but his orders were lost in the noise. "Look! There they are!" Zorak yelled, pointing at the approaching soldiers. "We must fight back!" But it was too late. The super soldiers attacked, their training kicking in as they moved with precision. Jace and Lena took down several aliens, using their speed and agility to outmaneuver them. The aliens were overwhelmed. They were not prepared for a fight, especially not against soldiers who had been brought back from the dead. Rax led the charge, his powerful presence inspiring his team. "Stay focused," Rax called, urging his soldiers forward. "We fight for humanity! Let's show them what we are made of." As the battle raged on, the command center became a scene of chaos. Aliens ran in all directions, trying to escape the onslaught. The super soldiers pushed forward, their spirits high and their hearts filled with determination. Zorak, realizing he was losing control, made one last desperate attempt. "Call for reinforcements," he shouted, but it was too late. The super soldiers had already gained the upper hand. With one final push, Rax and his team surrounded Zorak. "This is for humanity!" Rax declared as he and his comrades prepared to end the fight once and for all. The aliens had underestimated the strength and determination of the human spirit. In the midst of chaos, the super soldiers were rising to reclaim their world, and nothing could stand in their way. The battle inside the alien base had ended, but the fight for humanity was far from over. Rax and his team stood among the debris, catching their breath after the fierce struggle. They had fought hard, but the true challenge lay ahead. With the aliens defeated, it was time to think about their next move. Rax looked around at his comrades. Each soldier was bruised and weary, but their eyes burned with determination. "We did it," he said, his voice steady. "We fought back against the aliens, but we need to find a way to escape this base and reach our people." Lena nodded, her expression serious. "We have to get to the communication room. If we can send a message to other survivors, we can rally everyone and fight together." Jace stepped forward, a spark of hope in his eyes. "I remember seeing a communication panel when we were scouting. It's in the northwest corner of the base." Rax smiled, feeling a surge of optimism. "Great! Let's move out. But we must be careful. The aliens may have left some traps or reinforcements nearby." The team moved cautiously through the wreckage of the command center, avoiding broken panels and fallen debris. The base was eerily quiet now, the alarms finally silenced. Each soldier kept their senses alert, ready for any unexpected surprises. As they approached the northwest corner, they heard a faint sound. "What's that?" Lena whispered, her heart racing. Rax held up a hand to stop them. "Let's check it out. Stay low." They crept forward, peering around a corner. To their surprise, they found a group of aliens huddled together, trying to repair their communication systems. They were distracted, giving the super soldiers an opportunity to take them by surprise. "This is our chance," Jace whispered, his voice filled with excitement. "We can take them out quietly and use their equipment." Rax nodded. "Lena, you take the lead. Move quickly and silently." Lena moved like a shadow, her training allowing her to blend into the darkness. She approached the aliens, her heart pounding in her chest. With a swift motion, she took down the first alien before it even had a chance to react. The others turned, but Jace and Rax were right behind her. They fought together, a well-oiled machine. The remaining aliens were no match for the super soldiers. Within moments, the area was secure, and the soldiers stood over the fallen aliens, breathing heavily. "Let's see if we can get this communication system up and running," Rax said, moving toward the control panel. Lena and Jace joined him, working together to examine the equipment. The panel flickered to life, showing static-filled screens and broken connections. "It's damaged, but I think we can still send a signal," Lena said, her fingers flying over the controls. Rax watched intently. "We need to send a clear message to any survivors." Let them know we are alive and ready to fight. As Lena worked, Jace stood guard, keeping an eye on the surroundings. Hurry! We don't know how long we have before more aliens arrive. With a final burst of effort, Lena pressed a button and the screen lit up. This is Commander Rax. We are alive and fighting back against the aliens. If you can hear this message, gather your strength and join us. We will reclaim our home. The message echoed through the air, a beacon of hope for anyone who might hear it. Rax felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. They were no longer alone. They had each other and a chance to fight for their world. Now we need to find a way out of here, Jace said, glancing back at Rax. The aliens will know we're here soon. Rax nodded. Let's move! We have to find an exit before they regroup. As they made their way through the twisting corridors of the base, Rax felt a renewed sense of purpose. The weight of despair had lifted, replaced by the fire of hope. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for a future. Along the way, they found a few more aliens who had survived the chaos. Instead of attacking, Rax made a bold decision. We need to show them that we can coexist. They are not our enemies, their leaders are. Lena and Jace exchanged surprised glances but nodded. You're right, Lena agreed. If we can unite the survivors, we have a better chance. Rax approached the frightened aliens. We are not here to hurt you. Join us, and we can work together against the true threat. Slowly, the aliens began to step forward, realizing the humans were offering them a chance. The walls of distrust started to crumble, and together they moved toward the exit. As they finally reached the surface, Rax looked up at the sky. The sun was shining brightly, a symbol of hope. We will rebuild. We will fight together. This is just the beginning. With their newfound allies, Rax and his team stepped into the light, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had found hope in the darkest of times, and now they would rise as one. The sun was shining bright over the Arctic landscape as Rax and his team stood outside the alien base. After their battle, they felt a new sense of hope. But the situation was still dangerous. They had defeated the aliens inside the base, but their leaders were still out there, plotting their next move. Rax gathered everyone around. We have to reach the other survivors. They need to know we are still fighting. He looked at each of his comrades, determination in his eyes. We need to spread the word that we can unite against the aliens. Lena, her spirit high, nodded. I remember some nearby camps where humans might be hiding. We can head there and warn them. Jace checked his gear, ensuring they had everything they needed. Let's move quickly. We don't know how long we have before the aliens find out what we did. As they began their journey, they trekked across the icy terrain, using the sun as their guide. The snow crunched under their boots, and the cold wind bit at their faces. But their spirits were high, they had hope, and they had each other. After hours of walking, they reached a small camp hidden among the icebergs. Smoke rose from a fire, and the smell of food wafted through the air. It looks like we found someone, Jace said, feeling excitement rise within him. They approached the camp cautiously. A group of people sat around the fire, their faces weary but filled with curiosity. As Rax stepped forward, the group fell silent, watching him closely. Hello! We are here to help! Rax shouted, his voice strong. We fought against the aliens at the base nearby. We need to warn you and unite against them. The group stared for a moment, unsure if they could trust these strangers. Then a woman with tired eyes stood up. Are you sure? The aliens have been hunting us. Many of us have lost everything. Lena stepped forward, speaking with conviction. We know how strong the aliens are, but we have a chance to fight back. If we work together, we can reclaim our home. The group exchanged glances, uncertainty written on their faces. Finally, the woman nodded. All right, we will listen to you. But what do you have in mind? Rax looked at his team, then back at the survivors. We need to spread the word. There are more of us out there. We can call for help and gather everyone to fight. But we need your help to send the message. A man from the group, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. I have a radio. It might still work. We can try to reach other survivors. Let's do it! Jace exclaimed, his excitement contagious. The man led them to a small tent where an old radio sat, covered in dust. He wiped it clean, his hands shaking slightly. I haven't used this in a long time. It might be broken, but it's worth a shot. Lena helped him set it up, her heart racing with anticipation. We need to reach as many people as possible. If they hear us, they might join the fight. After a few minutes of tinkering, the radio crackled to life. "This is our chance," Rax said, feeling the energy in the air. The man adjusted the frequency, trying to find a clear signal. "Hello? Is anyone out there?" He called into the microphone. "We are survivors in the Arctic. We need help! The aliens are hunting us." Static filled the air, but they all listened intently, hoping for a reply. Minutes felt like hours as they waited, hearts pounding with anticipation. Suddenly, a voice broke through the noise. "This is Commander Bill from the southern camp. We hear you. We thought we were alone." Joy erupted in the tent. "Yes." "We're not alone!" Lena shouted, her eyes shining with hope. "We need to unite," Rax said into the radio. "Can you gather your people and meet us here? Together we can fight back against the aliens." "I'll send the message." "We'll be there," Commander Bill replied, determination clear in his voice. As the radio fell silent, the group cheered, excitement filling the air. Rax felt a surge of hope. "We are gathering an army. This is just the beginning." The survivors in the camp rallied together, ready to fight for their freedom. Rax knew that they had taken the first step toward reclaiming their world. They were not just survivors anymore, they were a united front against the aliens. With the sun setting on the horizon, Rax looked around at his newfound allies. "We will not give up. We will fight together and we will win." They began to prepare for their next move, their hearts filled with hope. The call for help had gone out, and now they were ready to stand together against the darkness that threatened their world.